What is the Canadian tax system? If you've ever thought about it, this is the video for you. We're going to take a look at all the components that make up the Canadian tax system and who and what is the CRA or the Canada Revenue Agency, how taxes work in Canada. So the four main buckets, you have an individual, a sole proprietor, a corporation, and a trust. An individual is anyone, me and you, who have any sort of income. It could be employment income, property income. Sole proprietor is an individual that has their own business but is not incorporated. A corporation is an incorporated business, and a trust is pretty much something else used as a tool to split income. So if we're looking at the individual tax, we all have to file our tax returns. That's called the individual corporate income tax return, the T1. So whether we have any income or no income, we most of the time will need to file a tax return because we want to have some benefits there. So if we have employment income, you're going to get what we call a T4. You work for an employer, they give you a paycheck, you have to pay your tax, your CPP, and your EI, and this tax is deducted from you, so you don't actually have this cash at all. Your employer takes this money and they withhold it for you on your behalf. You might have investment income. So you might have these dividends. These are money coming from owning shares of corporations. You might have interest, like a savings account, or a capital gain. You might have purchased shares and then sold it later for a larger amount. That also goes on your T1. If you're a sole proprietor, you don't want to incorporate your business. You're keeping it under your name. So you still run a business, but it's under your name. So it actually falls under your T1, except you have another file that you have to use. It's called the T2125 form. The business income. So you have to look at all your sales, and then you have your expenses. So any of these expenses that are used in order for you to gain business income, you can deduct. The remaining, the net income, is what you're going to pay taxes on. So any expense that is used to run your business will be deductible. Your T2125 form is only used for your sole proprietor. Okay, if you're a sole proprietor, you have to fill out this form. You have business income and expenses that are reported here. You don't need any financial statements. If you don't know how to do this, there's a video on that. You can take a look at it on my channel. Your sole proprietor tax problem. The biggest problem here is you're not sure how much you're actually going to pay in taxes because, again, your business profit is going to go into your personal income, which will then be your total income. And now you have no idea whether you're going to have taxes owing or a refund. There is a risk to being a sole proprietor as well. You have a lawsuit, a liability debt. Everything is on you, the person. It is not separated between you and your business, which is why a lot of people choose to incorporate. However, the good thing about sole proprietors is that you can just quickly get it done. Corporations. Obviously, if you want to be a separate legal entity and you don't want to take the risk of a sole proprietor, you incorporate. Now you own assets, aka the company owns assets and runs the business. You own shares of the corporation. In this case, you own ABC Inc. On top of this, you have a separate corporation filing return. So you have a T2. It's called an income tax return for the corporation. Every corporation needs to file a T2 return, and it depends when. It's 6 months after your year end. For many of you, your year end will be in December 31st. It's the same as your sole proprietor. You have your sales, your expenses, your profit. The only thing here, though, is on your T2, you are going to need to have your financial statements, which was not necessary for your sole proprietorship. So corporate profit is also taxed in the company. So you're not going to be paying tax out in personally. Your corporation is going to pay the tax first. It's going to go to the Canada Revenue Agency, aka the IRS equivalent, our governing regulating body, and then the corporate tax will be paid by the corporation before it gets paid to the shareholder. You can pay it out to a shareholder through a salary or a dividend or both. When that money comes to the owner, yourself, you will have to pay personal tax on that. Whether it is a salary, you'll get a T4. If it's a dividend, you're going to get a T5. There are two reasons why you might have a salary, one of which you want to have CPP contributions for when you retire. You want to collect CPP. If you don't and you want a dividend, it may be better for you to just collect the dividend because it's cheaper. You don't have to pay into CPP, which if you are an owner, you're going to have the corporate and the personal side, so it gets taxed twice. However, don't worry about the double layer concept because Canada follows integration. So in theory, whether you choose to get taxed at the corporate level and then personal, or right away at the personal, there will be no difference with integration. Now, a trust is something else. You have to have a trust document made up by a lawyer, and you'll have what we call beneficiaries. So the trust may own stuff in the trust, and they may pay it out to the beneficiaries of the trust. So this was a big part of Canada when they were using it to pretty much split income. But for most of the part, now this is not so much the case. There's what we call TOSI. So the only way you can split income through a trust is by making sure that the people or the beneficiaries are actually being active in the business. So it used to be used for minors, now not really. You get taxed very unfavorably. So your trust, if you do have one, is called a T3 return. That is due March 31st. And again, the trust reports the trust income and it pays out the tax. But for the most part, it will take any income and split it to the beneficiaries and not pay tax at the highest rate, which would otherwise be the case. So your trust return is something that needs to be done each year as well. Your marginal tax rate. Here you can see Canada follows a marginal tax rate system. So it gets taxed at 15% at the lowest rate. That's the lowest rate for the federal amount. You also have a provincial amount as well, but every dollar gets taxed at a different rate the higher you go up. Don't think, oh, if I'm at the highest margin, my whole income gets taxed at that rate. No, it's not. That 100,000 will not be taxed all at 30%. The first 15,000 will be taxed at 5, the next 35,000 will be taxed at 15, and etc. It's a blended rate. So you have your first layer, your middle layer, and your top layer. At the top end of it, you may be taxed at the highest rate, but at the low end, when you first receive 50,000, it will be taxed at the lower rate. So you don't have to worry about, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have a raise. For the most part, you should always take the raise. So you have what we call a provincial and a federal tax. Your provincial tax gets taxed at the province where it's made. Your federal tax, everyone has to pay it. So you have these two different provincial and federal taxes included in Canada. Your average tax rate, if you want to take it, if you had a tax payable of 16,000 in your income, your average rate would be 20%. So it's a very quick, easy calculation. If you're trying to say, okay, well, on average, how much tax do I pay on my income? How much do I keep? Oh, I keep 80% of it. Your marginal tax rate may be higher than your average tax rate, but that's because your marginal tax rate is the rate on your next dollar. Whereas your average tax rate includes all of the dollars you've made. On average, what was it taxed from the top to the lowest? You have some deductions that you can claim, and one of which that I really want to tell you is claiming the RRSP contribution. Make sure that you do an RRSP deduction. It's the best thing that you can do. It's money in your pocket and you deduct it and you won't pay tax. Other ones are your childcare and your union dues or your professional dues as well. You have this credit system and this payable. So you calculate your payable before the credits, and then you go in and you calculate some of the credits. You might have your tuition credit, your marginal credit, your donation credit, and then it will bring down by 15% to your amount owing. When you file your tax return, you may be in a refund position or a balance owing position. So you may owe the government money or the government may owe you money. For the most part, many of you, your employer will withhold more money than they should, and then you'll be in a refund position. So payroll withholding, again, your employer withholds that money. If you have any payroll that you overpaid in CPP and EI, you'll get that money back when you file your tax return in April. So don't worry about the deductions. That is all that your employer has to do on your behalf. However, if you're a business owner, either a sole proprietor or a corporate business owner, you do have to worry about GST. Once you hit that 30,000 revenue amount in the year, rule of thumb, you're going to have GST requirements. You'll have to create a GST account and you'll have to withhold it and file a GST return. So when you are charging GST or HST, remember, whichever province you're in BC, it's 5%, in Ontario, it's 13%. On $1,000, 13% would be $130. That is the government's money that you owe them. In total, you will collect $1,130. Remember, that's after you register for your GST. So you may also be in a refund position as well, depending on your ITC credits. If you're not sure how to do a GST return, make sure you take a look at my GST video. It explains everything about how the GST system works. Your payroll account, if you are an employer, you might hire an employee and then you have to pay payroll. You have to withhold CPP, EI, income tax deductions. So that's something that all employees have to deal with, and all employers. And on top of that, the employer might also have an employer health tax. T4 slips. Everyone will get a T4 slip in Canada. This is the easiest slip, and this is what most of you have. You just need to file a T4 slip or input the T4 slip when you're filing your T1 tax return, and that'll be it for most of you. Your CPP and EI will also be included on your T4 slip, so you'll know exactly how much CPP and EI you paid in the year, which is really good to know because then you can start thinking about your retirement. How much CPP will I be entitled to if you're maxing it out each year? If you are owing money over $3,000 in the year, then you're going to have installments that you're going to have to pay. First installment is March 15th, second June 15th, September 15th is the third one, and December 15th for the fourth one. So you actually have to pay the CRA in the future. So the key dates to consider is that your T1 is usually due April 30th, your self-employed income is due June 15th, and all your balance owing, if you're a regular employee, is April 30th. Even every single person, it's due April 30th. Once you file, you will have a notice of assessment. They will assess it, and based on their assessment, you'll either get a notice of assessment or a notice of reassessment, or they may also ask for an audit or review. If you do need help with dealing with the CRA, do let me know. You can always ask for help from an accountant, such as myself. My email is in the description below. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more practical Canadian tax guidance video. Remember, this is general information, not personalized tax advice. If you are looking for an accountant, YG Accounting and Advisory is here for you. We have a list of comprehensive services that we do and that we can help you with. If you have any questions about us, who we are, you can find it on our website. Remember, if you are looking for any consultation, book the free one here, and you can find our email as well.